Men are not weak for stepping back. They are tired of a dating culture that rewards attention but punishes investment. For a long time, the script was simple. Men pursued, women chose, and men proved their value through effort. Approach her, pay for the date, send the message first, plan the night, make the move, stay consistent, earn her trust. To many men, it felt like a fair trade. If I show up with discipline and good intentions, I will be met with respect and reciprocity. But modern dating quietly rewrote the terms. The same man is now expected to pursue with confidence, but never be too eager, to lead, but never be controlling, to invest, but never expect anything, to be emotionally available, but never show emotional need. And when those contradictions pile up, something changes in the male mind. He stops chasing because he stops believing the chase means anything, not because he hates women, not because he wants revenge, but because he starts to see the pursuit as a high-risk, low-return transaction. That is the first thing most people miss. When men stop chasing, it is rarely dramatic. It is quiet. It looks like fewer messages, fewer approaches, less effort given to strangers, less energy spent proving worth to someone who is still deciding if he matters. And the moment men withdraw, many women experience something they are not prepared for. Not loneliness at first, not even rejection. What they feel first is a sudden loss of leverage. Because for years, attention was constant. Even if she did not want the man, his pursuit still provided validation. His effort still confirmed her desirability. His interest still created a baseline sense of power. When that attention disappears, it can feel like something inside the system is breaking. And that is where the panic begins. You see it online. Where are the real men? Why doesn't anyone approach anymore? Dating is impossible. But here is the uncomfortable reality. Most men are not complaining loudly. They are opting out silently. They have watched the patterns, the endless talking stages, the ghosting, the last-minute cancellations, the casual disrespect disguised as standards, the expectation that he must entertain, impress, and invest before she offers basic courtesy. So men adapted, not with anger, with strategy. They started asking questions that used to feel unromantic. How much time am I spending to get one meaningful connection? How often is my effort reciprocated? How frequently do I feel respected versus tested? How many times do I pay for a date where she is emotionally absent? Once a man begins to think in those terms, the chase loses its emotional magic. It becomes math, and math doesn't lie. I have seen men run that calculation and change their lives. They stop sending hundreds of messages. They stop trying to win someone who is still browsing options. They stop giving boyfriend energy to someone who has not earned trust. They invest that time in fitness, work, skill, purpose, friends, and their lives get better. This is why it is a mistake to label the shift as male weakness. Many of the same men who refuse to chase in dating are disciplined everywhere else. They build companies. They maintain infrastructure. They protect families. They master difficult skills. They handle pressure without applause. So if those men won't pursue, it is not an ability. It is choice. A man can be capable and still decide the game is not worth playing. Now, here is where the female experience becomes complicated. Women are not upset because they want bad men to chase them. They are upset because the entire social script trained them to expect pursuit. When the script collapses, women are forced to confront a question they rarely had to face. If men are not competing for my attention, what do I actually offer that makes a man stay? This question is uncomfortable because it pulls the focus away from appearance and toward value. And value is not just beauty. It is not just youth. It is not just social media attention. Value is emotional stability, respect, warmth, reciprocity, accountability, the ability to build peace, not just demand excitement. In a world where men pursued automatically, women could delay that question. In a world where men withdraw, women cannot. There's another layer that makes this shift feel brutal. Modern platforms created an illusion of endless options. A woman can receive attention from hundreds of men and still feel that no good men exist, not because good men are absent, but because attention is not the same as alignment, and because the highest attention often comes from men who are least likely to commit. So women chase the emotionally unavailable man and ignore the emotionally consistent man, then conclude that men are unreliable. Meanwhile, the consistent men watch this dynamic and learn a lesson. Consistency is not rewarded. It is exploited. So they stop offering it freely. This is where men stop chasing becomes more than a trend. It becomes a cultural adaptation. Men used to approach because the cost of rejection was low. Now the cost can feel higher. Public embarrassment, social shaming, workplace accusations, being treated as a problem for showing interest. Even when nothing illegal is happening, the risk feels heavy. And when risk rises, behavior changes. So men choose safer environments. They date through friends. methods. They date through introductions, or they do not date at all. And that is when women notice the true shift. The men worth pursuing are no longer chasing. They are either taken, or they are guarded, or they are living peacefully without dating. This is the new market. Not men are gone, but the automatic pursuit is gone. And when automatic pursuit disappears, female identity can get shaken, because a lot of modern validation is built on attention. This is not a moral judgment, it is a psychological observation. If you have been fed attention since your teenage years, its absence feels like loss, like aging, like rejection, like invisibility. That is why the reaction is so intense. But here is the truth that changes everything. Men did not stop chasing women. Men stopped chasing uncertainty. They stopped chasing mixed signals. They stopped chasing emotional games. They stopped chasing people who treat effort as entitlement. And once men make that shift, they do not return to the old version of themselves easily, because peace is addictive, and peace is what men discovered when they stopped chasing. Now, if you are a woman listening, do not misunderstand this. This is not a celebration of male withdrawal, and it is not a call for women to humble themselves. It is a warning about how quickly attraction dynamics flip when the pursuer stops performing the old role, because a large part of female desire is not built on men chasing. It is built on feeling chosen, and feeling chosen is an emotional drug. When a woman is used to being pursued, she learns to measure her worth through response, how fast he texts back, how much effort he gives, how quickly he escalates commitment, how willing he is to bend his schedule for her. When those signals vanish, her nervous system does not interpret it as he is calm. It interprets it as I am losing value. That triggers something primal: anxiety, competition, urgency. This is why some women suddenly become more interested the moment a man becomes less available. Not because women are evil, but because the female mind is deeply sensitive to shifts in attention, and attention often predicts status, and status predicts security. So when a man stops chasing, it can feel like the floor moved under her feet. She starts scanning for meaning. Did I do something wrong? Is he talking to someone else? Am I not enough? Is he losing interest? Is this my age catching up? Is this what it feels like to be ignored? And if she does not understand what is happening, she will often try the same strategies that used to work. Withhold a little, test a little, post a little more, flirt a little louder, create jealousy, play cold, act busy. But here is the problem. Those strategies only work on men who still chase. They do not work on men who have already detached. Once a man detaches, he stops reacting. And when he stops reacting, there is no emotional fuel for the game. This is why some women experience modern dating as dead. The same moves produce no effect. The same signals produce no chase. The same standards produce silence. Because the men who used to respond to that script learned that responding is how they get drained. So they stopped. And this brings us to the real psychological question. Why do some women struggle so intensely when men stop chasing? It is not about romance. It is not about flowers. It is not about being treated like a princess. It is about what chasing represented inside her mind. It represented certainty. It represented priority. It represented safety. It represented identity. When that symbol disappears, she is forced to confront her emotional foundation. And many women realize something painful. They were not building connection. They were collecting proof of desirability. They were not selecting a partner. They were selecting a feeling. And when that feeling stops arriving, they call it dating is broken. In the next part, we will go deeper. The hidden psychological mechanism behind this struggle, why women confuse attention with attachment, and why the modern validation economy makes real love harder for both sides. And if you are a man listening, don't get arrogant. If you withdraw without purpose, you become bitter. But if you withdraw to rebuild your standards, your health, your mission, you become the kind of man who is chased for the right reasons. That is the difference between power and ego. And most men confuse them today. When men stop chasing, the shift does not only happen outside, it happens inside the woman as well. Because attention is not just flattering, it is regulating. For years, many women unconsciously used male pursuit as emotional feedback. Who texts? Who calls? Who shows up? Who tries? That feedback loop quietly answers questions like, am I still desirable? Am I still chosen? Am I still valuable? So when men withdraw, the loss is not romantic first, it is psychological. The female nervous system begins searching for the missing signal. This is why confusion appears before anger, before blame, before frustration. At first, she tells herself, men these days are lazy. Men are intimidated. Men are weak. But underneath those thoughts is a deeper discomfort. The external confirmation she relied on is no longer automatic. And here is the part few people talk about honestly. Many women were never taught how to create attraction attraction without being chased. They were taught how to respond, how to filter, how to choose, not how to initiate, not how to lead emotionally, not how to build desire from stillness. So when men stop performing the old role, women are left without a map. That is when anxiety turns into control. She starts monitoring. Why hasn't he texted? Why is he slower now? Why does he seem calm? Why does he not react? And the calmer the man is, the louder her mind becomes. Because calm used to mean confidence, but now calm means absence of pursuit. And absence of pursuit feels like rejection. This is where many women make a critical mistake. They assume the solution is to increase standards, to demand more, to test harder, to withhold affection. But those tactics were designed for men who chase. They do not work on men who have detached from outcome. Instead of pulling him closer, they push him further into indifference. And indifference is the one thing attraction cannot survive. There is another uncomfortable truth here. Some women confuse male desire with male effort. They believe if a man wants her, he must prove it through chasing. But desire and effort are not the same. A man can desire deeply and still refuse to pursue blindly, especially if past pursuit taught him that effort is not respected. So when women say, if he wanted to, he would, many men quietly think, I wanted to, and I learned not to. This is the emotional disconnect at the center of modern dating. Women interpret reduced effort as reduced interest. Men see reduced effort as self-respect. Both sides feel misunderstood. Both sides feel wronged, and neither side is speaking the same emotional language. This is why women often feel unsettled rather than angry, why they feel restless instead of sad, why dating feels off even when nothing dramatic happened. The old cues are gone, and without cues, the mind creates stories. Stories like, men don't value relationships anymore. Men only care about themselves. Men are emotionally unavailable. But the truth is more precise. Men became selectively available. They stopped giving full access to people who had not shown consistency, appreciation, or reciprocity. They stopped chasing uncertainty. And uncertainty is what many women were unintentionally offering, not because they were malicious, but because they were taught that mystery creates desire, without being taught when mystery becomes emotional distance. So when men withdraw, women feel the weight of emotional silence, and silence forces self-reflection. Am I inviting connection, or am I waiting to be impressed? Am I offering warmth, or only evaluating performance? Am I building peace, or testing strength? These questions are uncomfortable, but they are necessary, because the world where men chased automatically is ending, and the world where connection requires mutual grounding is beginning. In the final part, we will talk about the third trap, what happens when boundaries disappear, why self-abandonment feels like love, and how both men and women lose polarity when they mistake sacrifice for intimacy. That is where the real damage completes itself, and that is where the path back to healthy attraction finally becomes clear. When men stop chasing, stop explaining, and stop bending themselves to be chosen, something irreversible happens. They return to themselves. This is the part most people never talk about, because once a man rebuilds his center, the relationship dynamic can never go back to what it was before. He no longer negotiates his value. He no longer performs for validation. He no longer fears silence. And this changes everything, not because he becomes cold, but because he becomes grounded. A grounded man does not chase attention. He attracts response. He does not demand respect. He embodies it. This is where the third and final trap reveals itself, the trap of self-abandonment. Many men were never rejected by women. They were rejected by themselves first. They gave up their boundaries to keep peace. They gave up direction to keep connection. They gave up identity to feel chosen. And slowly, the relationship lost its structure, because love without boundaries becomes obligation, and obligation quietly kills desire. When a man stops abandoning himself, the relationship either recalibrates or collapses. There is no middle ground. Some women feel this shift and adjust. They reconnect through respect. Others resist it. They test boundaries. They provoke reactions. They try to restore control through emotion. And when that fails, the final response appears. Distance. Not anger, not drama, just distance. This is the moment most relationships end, quietly. Not because love disappeared, but because the man finally returned to himself. This is not cruelty. It is correction. Men do not become dangerous when they stop chasing. They become selective. They stop trying to be wanted and start choosing. And that is the real power shift no one prepared women for. Because the moment a man no longer needs pursuit to feel valuable, the entire game collapses. If you understood this, you already see relationships differently. And if this challenged something you believed, that was the point. If you watched until here, like the video, share it with someone who needs clarity, not comfort. Subscribe for more deep psychological breakdowns sounds like this. Stay aware, stay grounded,